about 6 years old. And I don't have my original set that I had when I was a kid. It was 3-rail, it was a Marx train set. And then I graduated to a different scale, which was HO, which is the smaller ones in the cases and the top shelf. And then I went back to Lionel, which is what the big name is, but it's O gauge. When I lived in Stoughton, I had the railroad track ran not too far from my parents' house, and I was used to run to the door and watch the trains go through Stoughton. Okay, and so I had the realism of that was just what I really did was to watch the trains. And for one Christmas, I asked Santa Claus for a set of trains, and I got a train set, and that's what happened. And it just took off from there. And then, you know, I went through a lot of issues with growing up and changing scales and all that and everything else. And then I got out of it because you got married and you had other obligations and all the rest of it. I was a firefighter, I was a captain of the Stoughton Fire Department. And I'm going to be working part-time. I've been working for the part-time for the State Fire Academy as an instructor in different divisions up there, which I'll be still doing that part-time. But I just retired 2 days ago from the Stoughton Fire Department. When I lost my brother, that was the day that I said I'm going to get back into this because I had talked about it for a long time. My brother had cancer. He battled cancer for 2 years, and I watched how sick he was, and it was just a decision that's something that I always wanted to get back into, and watching how much he had suffered with his cancer and things like that. You keep putting things off in your life, and I stopped putting things off, and I said that day, you know something, I'm going to start getting back into this because it's something I want to do before something happens to me, you know, and I hope it's a long time before that happens, but there are a lot of things that I wanted to do in my life, and that was one of the things to get back into this. So my brother was really the catalyst to get back into it, but he had no interest in this at all. You can come down here and it's like taking you right back to your childhood. The good old days of being a kid and no worries in the world and working on it. And there are days it's frustrating working on here. There are days that things don't go quite the way you want, and before you break anything and get upset, you walk away from it. But it's fascinating to see all of these components come together and become a miniature city, a miniature thing. And this is small. I mean, this is very small in comparison to what a lot of people have done. This is tiny in comparison to what a lot of people get into. This is really small. So, but it looks big. But if you know the hobby, this is kind of really small. Now that I'm retired, I will have a little bit more time to spend down here. Okay, and I will be spending that time down here. But I prepped myself very well for retirement, so I've got a lot of the material is already here to be used to be put into the system. It's never finished. Never finished. It's an ongoing project that will change constantly, and you get to a point with this business too that a lot of times you'll turn around and just say to yourself, you know something, I don't like the way this looks. You tear it all up and start all over again.
And how long do you plan on continuing?
Long time. For as long as I can. For as long as I can. But it's always been a void. Never served my country, blah, 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 blah. Well, the other night when I was going home, I had 2 Marines on the group. And he said, remember how much he's talked about serving his country, everything else? They flew that flag over Station 1 for just the day. It was brand new. And they presented it to me at 6 o'clock that night. I was like absolutely devastated.
Yeah, but with bagpipes playing.
The bagpipes. And they all saluted me.
And Lexi broke down completely.
I would have too. I was a mess. I was a mess. I walked out the door, and they presented me with the flag, and I was just like devastated. They saluted me. I was going out with the bagpipes and everything else, and it was just what a scene. What a scene.